Show
You never heard of a talking horse?
with your host, Louisa Barton.
I want to be a famous rider. I should like to race.
Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital.
Truth is, I help horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Yeah, baby.
The Larson family has been farming hay in Idaho for generations with a mission to always provide high-quality hay products at a fair and reasonable price. Larson Hay loves to meet new customers while always honoring the ones they already have. Find Larson Hay on the web at larsonhay.com, like them on Facebook, and definitely visit one of their locations. Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and our television broadcast sponsor. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Welcome to the Horse Talk Show presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our broadcast sponsor, Idaho's finest alfalfa. I'm Louisa Barton in the studio. My co-host Maria Lacasse is out this week, so it'll just be me for the first segment. I'm going to start off sharing with you who we have this week for the show. I think it's pretty exciting. We have a great lineup. We're going to have Dr. Kayot on next, talking about blister beetle. Then in the third and fourth segment, we have a top equestrian here in the studio with us, Dory Douglas, who's going to share some great things, some incredible things about her career growing up, and lots more, especially about Lola, who I'm very excited to hear about. And then we actually have a top reiner, Matt Mills, and also Shannon Rafus. So we'll be talking a little reining later in the show to wrap it up. But first of all, I want to mention the Hobby Horse Equestrian Games. The Chamber and Economic Partnership here in Ocala, the horse capital, is the only chamber that we know of in the world that has an equine initiative. We think it's pretty important. Back in 2016, after a study on the equine industry here in the Marion County area, numbers showed $2.6 billion for economic impact, and that was back before World Equestrian Center, and that was 6 or 7 years ago now. So we know those numbers have changed significantly and increased dramatically, but important enough for the Chamber to really emphasize how important the equine industry is to this area. And we do a couple of events each year that are equine focused, and really they're equine awareness events to help people learn about, first of all, horses and all the breeds and disciplines, as well as the sports that really bring the people here that certainly spend all the money, or at least a lot of it. And those include racing, show jumping, eventing, reining, barrels, and polo. So we are going to have top experts in every discipline and equestrians to teach, first of all, the attendees to this very, very fun and exciting event that is free admission to the general public at the Florida Horse Park. And we are going to, after the teaching session, we're going to actually compete on stick horses. You can bring your own stick horse or make one at the event, and you'll be able to compete. And the top equestrian that taught you will be the judge, and there'll be prizes in each class. We'll have a couple of different age groups, so the adults aren't competing against the little kids, to give the little kids a chance. There's also going to be vendors, some food trucks. We're going to have a live real horse all breed parade to celebrate the different breeds that we have in the Marion County area. And I think overall it'll be a lot of fun. The polo match at the end of the day is going to be on stick horses. We're looking for a couple of teams to compete there in that tournament, so that should be a lot of fun. So that is October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Florida Horse Park at 11008 South Highway 475. And we're going to have you watch this video right now, demo of polo. The Hobby Horse Equestrian Games will be held at the Florida Horse Park on October 22nd. This event is part of the Equine Initiative presented by Piranha, and it's a great way to learn horse sports from top equestrians and compete yourself from the safety of a stick horse. We're seeking businesses who would like to compete against one another in the polo tournament and sponsors for the event. This event will be free to the public and all ages are welcome. Please reach out to Louisa at ocalacep.com if you'd like to be involved. So please let me know if you're interested in helping us out there with that, if you want to be a sponsor, if you'd like to be one of the equestrians that is willing to come and teach the sport and be a judge, probably take about an hour of your time maybe to come and do that. Louisa at ocalacep.com. We're definitely going to enjoy having a vendor area as well. So if you have a horse product or service you'd like to promote, you can have a 10 by 10 space and set up there, and you'll have access to a lot of equestrians and non-equestrians and folks of all ages. So it's going to be a great event. We certainly hope you'll come and join us at the Florida Horse Park for that. We really, really want to increase awareness of horse sport. We also want to make it non-intimidating for you, so that when you go and watch something at World Equestrian Center or the Florida Horse Park or any of these wonderful venues that we have here in the Marion County area, you understand the sport and you kind of know what you're watching and what's supposed to happen. So we think it's also a little less risky for you to try it from a stick horse the first time. One of our 501c3s in the Marion County area is the Heart of Florida Youth Ranch, and we love the Heart of Florida Youth Ranch. They have got some foster kids living there on site who've been through some terrible situations, whether that be they've been trafficked or they've been in a sexual physical abuse situation, or they've been involved in some kind of problem with their family where they have been put into foster care. They actually live on the facility in Citra. They can house up to 38 children. I think they have 29 or 30 at the moment living there. And they have 8 horses also living on property. And this program is phenomenal for these kids. Everything from learning basically the horse industry and all sorts of equestrian skills, so that when they graduate from high school, they can actually go out and work in the horse world. Brenda does an absolutely phenomenal job there, teaching lots of horsemanship skills. They actually get to ride. They have riding lessons. They learn the basics of leading, loading, schooling, lunging, feeding, farm maintenance, fixing fences, mowing, everything that goes into actually having a farm or working on a farm. And these kids really need this program. So we are encouraging our listeners to jump in and foster or sponsor a horse if you can. It's $95 a month to sponsor one, and Giddy needs a sponsor. Giddy is a mare, warm blood, and apparently is very amiable and caring. And one of the children actually was having a rough day and crying and sad about something, went over to the fence. One of the horses came over, put its head over the fence, and his eye was running at the time, and the child thought the horse was crying right alongside her. So I think there's something to be said for the emotional support part of these horses and the wonderful things that this program really does to help support these kids, and just how important it is. So if you can, reach out to Brenda at 352-425-0709 and let her know that you'd like to help in any way you can. You can visit a couple of times a year at events. You can also get updates on your horse and the progress that your horse is making with the children in the program. So Heart of Florida Youth Ranch, a great cause here in the Marion County area. So last night, I'm very fortunate enough to be with the Florida Horse Park Board, been appointed to the board for the Florida Horse Park, and I think it's such a great honor, and I love to be part of such a wonderful facility, 500-acre facility here in the Marion County area that offers such a wonderful place to show and school and trail ride and so many other things that you can do at the park. And they have so many events, horse events and non-horse events. And very fortunate last night to be in the meeting. And I don't want to jump the gun and share too much right now, because I think that the press release should be coming out very soon. But that was my view when everybody was getting ready for the meeting last night, and we'd actually come to agreement on a number of things, but there is some very, very exciting news coming soon. And as I said, I don't want to jump the gun. I want to wait on the horse park to put out the press release. But just so you know, it's exciting stuff. So we'll be looking for that and sharing that with you on social media. If you have not already liked us at the Horse Talk Show on Facebook and followed us on Instagram, please do so. Of course, we're also on Equus Television up to 8 times a day on all smart TV networks. And, of course, we're on the Sky 97.3 and Odyssey.com on Saturday mornings. So we hope you find a way to join us. Coming right back with Dr. Adam Kayott from Peterson & Smith, we're going to talk a bit about blister beetles. Stay with us.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
With over 70 years of collective experience in the horse industry, Lip Chip was built with integrity by horsemen for horsemen. Introducing the Chip Link system, powered by Lip Chip, where a 15-digit unique ID becomes a key to unlock not only identity, but also health paperwork, owner information, and even photos of each horse. So simple, even a child can do it. The future is here. The future is Lip Chip.
Enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength, and rehabilitation with state-of-the-art equipment. ETI treadmills offer the finest European engineering, the highest quality filtration, and no chemicals are required. Follow Equine Therapy International on social media or at equinetherapyint.com. Equine Therapy International provides technologically advanced therapy for horses worldwide.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. I'm Louisa Barton from the Horse Talk Show, and we're here on location at Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital in the horse capital of the world, Ocala, Marion County, Florida. And we have Dr. Adam Kayott here, and we're going to chat about something that's come up recently in the news. Sadly, in Wisconsin, some horses died from blister beetle, and some others were actually left very, very ill. It was a very sad situation. I'm going to talk a little bit to Dr. Kayott about the blister beetle, and having done some research and studied up a little on this, apparently one of the biggest issues is when hay is cut and baled at the same time rather than left to dry, and the blister beetles get stuck in the crimper, and it's hard for them to get out, and they can be very, very harmful to horses. So I'm going to talk to Dr. Kayott a little bit about that. Dr. Kayott, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Lovely to have you back with us. Tell us a little bit about your experience with the blister beetle.
Well, luckily, I don't have a lot of experience with the blister beetle, but the blister beetle is it's a nasty little thing. It's very toxic to horses. Even a ingestion of a little bit of the body of the beetle can be can make a horse very sick. So. The thing that makes the horse the sickest is the poison, which is called cantharidin, and it shows up as it causes ulcerations, typically of the mucosa of the mouth, can cause ulcerations of the digestive tract, and depending on how much the horse ingests, that kind of determines the severity of the problem. It can be treated if it's if it's diagnosed early enough, and if it is a lower load. So if they didn't ingest as much, and there's no parameter. Well, if they ingest just this part, it just kind of depends on the horse, So supportive care typically is what you give. Fluids, they can have some electrolyte abnormalities because they're losing fluid through these ulcerations and that sort of thing, and they're losing electrolytes, so they need to be supported that way. You can try like activated charcoal and things to minimize the toxin. Activated charcoal, mineral oil, any of those things that can bind to whatever toxins in the digestive system so that it doesn't go systemically. It's tough because it is in your hay, and needle in a haystack, right? Like, and they're small little bugs. It's not like they're just going to jump out at you, or they're going to be easily seen, especially if you're feeding in the morning and you're in a hurry and you throw, 2 flakes of hay to each horse. You're not looking for blister beetles, So, it can be kind of scary because the symptoms are relatively quickly occurring, anywhere from 3 to 24 hours. So, you can start seeing some of these issues, fever and ulcerations and that sort of thing. To try to avoid it, they're most commonly found in the Midwest, Western states like Oklahoma, Kansas. They're most active in the summertime, like August, those months, July, August. So when if you're obviously concerned about that, you can find out where the hay came from. You can find out when it was cut. Typically, they tend to occur in, your later cuttings. So if you get like first cutting is less likely to have the beetle in it than a later cutting because of their life cycle and how they progress through the summer months. So, you just be aware of that thing. Like I said, I have never personally seen it, knock on wood, and I hope I don't see it. The interesting thing about that is that you remember a few years ago we were having the creeping indigo concern, right? The creeping indigo, right? So this was this weed that grows, and they can have a lot of the same symptoms, actually, with the mouth ulcerations and hypersalivation that happens with the creeping indigo. So I guess those are two different things to consider if you see this sort of thing. Creeping indigo is kind of, nobody talks about it anymore. It was kind of like hot, and everybody was worried to death about it because, you know, obviously if you get these horses that pass because of it, it's, you know, a hot button topic, but nobody talks about it anymore. And, you know, I'm just kind of researching over this blister beetle, and I come across this, and I started thinking, well, I remember this creeping indigo thing we had, and I did see a horse that got into it a few years ago, and so it was very similar. So be careful where you know, just be aware of where you get your hay. Try to be as informed as you can be on what cutting it is, what state it came from, those sorts of things. And you know, if you're worried, you know, just try to, you know, they kind of look like a, I don't know, like a firefly almost, like a lightning bug kind of looking thing.
Yeah, they do. And they're actually only about 1 or 2 centimeters in size. So if, like me, you're feeding sort of early in the morning in the dark, or if you're feeding when it gets so dark now at 5:30, when you get home, if your hay is outdoors and it's not in a lit area, it's very, very difficult. It would be very hard to see a 1 or 2 centimeter bug in your hay. But one of the things I think I would say is buy from a quality location. Like you said, ask a lot of questions. You know, do you know if this hay was cut and baled immediately? Because apparently that's when they can't escape. If it was actually cut left and then baled later, that gives them a chance to run away. And I don't know that this would necessarily help, but I always shake my hay flake out completely for the horses before I leave it for them. And I would imagine if they're running around in there and you shook it out, that would alarm them somewhat, and perhaps they would take off. And so I'm just always one to shake it out and make sure it looks okay. And I would think that would help. Now, I know the clinical signs you talked about, like mouth sores. I know there can be some lethargy. I read that they can sink their whole mouth in the water trough to try and like ease the discomfort of the mouth sores. Anything distinctive that you can look for that would maybe tell it from poisoning from something like a creeping indigo? And are there any really significant tests that you can do to actually prove that's what it is to treat it?
Well, you can test for that, the toxin cantharidin. You have to, I believe it's in the fecal material. You can test for it in the fecal material. Toxemia in horses when they ingest something toxic is, clinically speaking, is pretty similar no matter what they ingest. You get this ulceration, you get possible fever, you could get diarrhea, you could get blood in the stool, any of these things that irritate the lining of the bowel, you know. So you can test for that poison to see if it is that, but typically it takes a while for them to, you know, get the results back, and your horse is either probably going to be past or better by the time you really get the answer. Either way, you treat the horse the same. You just try to support the horse as best you can, and hope that they didn't ingest a large quantity of it. And I think your idea of shaking the hay out, and sure, any chance that the little boogers could fall on the ground, is better. So yeah.
Well, we got to wrap this segment up. A lot of information. Certainly, as I said, make sure you're getting your hay from a very reputable source. Personally, I buy my hay from Larson's in Seminole. Great quality hay, but I know there's good quality places out there you can get your hay. But ask questions. If you have any concerns or your horse shows any of these symptoms, immediately call your veterinarian, because the supportive care as soon as possible is going to certainly extend the chances of the horse making a very quick recovery. Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital, 352-237-6151. I'm here with Dr. Adam Kayott, Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, and our broadcast sponsor, Larson Farms. Also, thank you to supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha, TT Distributors, and Midnight Rose Equestrian.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
If you're tired of the rigors of keeping your horse's water troughs clean and free of algae, you need the Drinking Post Waterer, an automatic waterer for horses, livestock and cattle. Field tested for over 40 years. The Drinking Post Waterer is the gold standard of non-electric automatic waterers. Check them out on Facebook or find them on the web at dpwaterer.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! All the humanity! Oh, Piranha.